So this is
Lisa.
eclectic. Excuse me, you're not Lisa, you're Linda.
At least you
I'm
got my name right.
offended now.
Oh,
Most people call me Trevor.
Awesome. So, Travis, how exactly do you become a member or get a job over there at the Space Foundation? What kind of credentials you need to be more than just in fratern? To actually get paid. What do you actually have to do?
Well, just like working in space, there are all sorts of positions and opportunities to be involved with the Space Foundation. I'm a historian, and I studied lots of history. I went to school for actually medieval history, but also museums. But there was a place for me at the Space Foundation. We have accountants, we have marketing folks, we have graphic designers, artists, event coordinators that all work for us in an effort to help us promote space and connect it with people. And so there's lots of opportunities. We're periodically hiring on our Space Foundation webpage, but one of the great ways to get involved is actually to volunteer for our program. That's actually how I met Lynda and found out about GalaxyFest and all that
Lynda
kind of
volunteered?
stuff. Well, actually, her husband did.
Oh, okay, yeah. Now that sounds right, okay?
Scott's the geek.
Linda talks people into things. She's like, hey, this is what we should do. And when she says we, she really means you.
You.
Yeah.
Okay,
That's right.
That's what happens with Linda. So that's very great. You had a question for Linda?
I do. I wanted to learn a little bit more about the STEM program. What are you guys doing over there with that?
Okay, now this STEM cells we're talking about, what exactly do you mean when you say STEM?
Well, STEM is the popular acronym for science, technology, engineering, and math. And we sometimes like to say STEAM and throw art in there.
Oh, I like that too.
Although in Indiana they throw in agriculture.
I've heard aerospace as well.
Aerospace, we sometimes do STEM with space science. It gets
Okay.
people. It is an alphabet soup. But essentially what we're trying to do is we recognize that in America there is a dearth of science, technology, engineering, and math that's being taught in schools, that's being studied in colleges. I mean, when we talk about the future of engineering in our country, I mean, we're the country that got people to the moon. With engineers who were mostly, there were a few that we imported from Germany and Russia, but mostly homebred. We don't have that potential anymore.
Why
And because we've drifted away. We haven't focused on that in school. It's not that arts and literature aren't important, but it's that essentially we've moved away from the desire for technology. And I think personally, that's because our goals have moved in a different direction. We've moved in more of a, I would almost say more of a entertainment direction. Not to say that entertainment is bad, but people are dreaming of becoming a musician. People are dreaming of getting rich that way. I mean, no one really gets rich being an engineer, but it's a good job. It's a great way. So what we're doing at the Space Foundation is we're inspiring that next generation by showing them that math can be fun. And that may sound impossible, but just by putting them in a situation where they have to use math in a way that they haven't done it, more than just doing addition or sums or fractions or calculus, where they're actually like monitoring a mission on Mars with a tiny rover. We actually have a surface of Mars built in our building. We've got 19 tons of red rock and dirt and tiny little Lego rovers that they run on the surface.
That's awesome.
And they actually get to go through that situation, and they get to be an engineer. They get to design the technology. They get to do the math to see if their mission's going long enough. They get to collect scientific data, and then they analyze it. That's what we're doing.
I
So
like that. Now, real quick, on that same lines of being an engineer and everything, how important is this for girls?
The thing is science is very important for everyone, but especially for young ladies. I have worked in several museums over the past 15, 16 years, and what's been unfortunate, especially in some of the museums that I've been in, where I've seen generation to generation, is that young ladies have come into the museum enthusiastic, can tell you everything about a dinosaur, every single thing about it, but by the time they get to 6th grade, from kindergarten to 6th grade, suddenly they don't seem interested in it. Yet these are the minds that are just as capable. There's nothing really different about the chemical makeup of a woman's mind or a man's mind or anything in between that would prevent them from being into science and being into those things. And more than ever, we need representation in space science of women, because they are going to go out there.
Well, and they
If
bring
we-
a new perspective.
Oh, yes,
right?
exactly.
Yeah.
We have new perspective. We have things that we never think about. I mean, when they were designing the toilets for the space shuttle, they were going to use toilets that had been designed by men, and honestly, it didn't really work. They had to. They really had to bring in, various people to be involved, and that's the type of thing is we need all sorts of viewpoints. Whether it's people from different cultures, whether it's people who speak different languages, whether it's people from different things. I mean, if you're interested in science fiction and fantasy, you have a viewpoint that can add to space science that sometimes someone who might be a little more interested in just engineering might need. It's this combination, this potpourri, if you will, that brings all these things together, and we need all the people at the table. We can't leave anyone out.
So science is for everybody.
Science-
Everybody can be involved with science.
Yes.
No matter race, nationality, culture, gender, doesn't matter. Everybody can have something to do with science.
Yes, science is
I
for
love that.
everyone.
I love
That's great.
Miss Lynda,
Yeah.
I love that.
No, that's awesome.
That is. All right there, Tailgaters. We're going to take a last break of the show. We'll be right back. This is Tailgate 98.5.